Welcome back, and thank you once again for joining us as we continue our tutorial series on React. And today we'll look at how to create our first React application. We will also explore the file and structure of our React application. If this interests you, let's go right ahead and code along. In our previous tutorial, we looked at setting up a development environment for React. And in this tutorial, we're going to look at using that environment to create our first React application. So let's begin by creating a folder. And I name my folder Playground. Within that folder, go ahead and right click if you're on a Windows machine, and go ahead and click Open with VS Code. Go ahead and click on Yes, trust the author. Now to scaffold our application, we would be accessing our command line. And you can do that two ways, by clicking on Ctrl J, or by accessing it in the menu by clicking on Terminal and clicking on New Terminal. Now in our terminal, let's go ahead and type npx create React app, and we append my app to it, and my app will be the name of your actual application. Then we proceed by clicking yes or Y on your keyboard. So this will install all the required modules for your application, including React, React DOM, and React scripts. Your application may take a few minutes to install, but once that is complete, we can go up to My App and explore this folder. So let's first look at the Node Modules folder. The Node Modules folder contains all the dependencies that are needed for your React application to work. It also contains additional dependencies that you add to your project using the npm package manager. We have the package.json file. Now, this file contains various meta tags that is relevant for a project. It specifies the dependency being used in the project, which helps npm set up the same environment on different machines for our project. As we browse through our package.json file, we can see some of our dependencies like React. We can see React DOM and React scripts. So all these modules were installed for us when we ran the command npx create React app. Now our package lock.json contains pretty much the same information contained in the package.json file. The README file would have some basic information on the setup and running of the application. The git-ignore file tells Git which files is to be ignored when committing our project to a GitHub repository. This is important because it protects you from accidentally uploading sensitive data to public space on the internet. We have the public folder, and the public folder is our root folder, which gets served up as our React application. Now we have favicon.ico. Now this file is an icon file that is used in our index.html as our favicon. The index.html file is one of the most important files in our React application. It is basically a template file which is served up when our application is launched. The index file contains the HTML element where our React application is mounted. As we can see within our index.html file, we have an element with an ID of root, and later on we'll see how that root plays an important role in the mounting of our application. We now see logo 192.png and logo 512.png, and these files are React logos. The manifest.json file is used to define our applications, mostly containing metadata. The manifest.json file is also used by mobile phones to add web apps to the home screen of a device. And lastly, within our public folder, we see robots.txt file, and this file defines rules for accessing our application for spiders, for crawlers, and also for web scrapers. We now have our src folder, and our src folder is where our components and our application logic basically resides. This is one of the most important folder in our React application. The app.css file contains CSS classes for styling our app component. The app.js file contains a very basic React component which can be replaced by our own root component. The app.test.js file. This file is used for writing our tests for the app component. The index.css file contains style for the general setup of our application. The index.css file is pretty much our entry point for our styles in our application. The index.js file. This file is the entry point of our React application. It literally tells our application which HTML element it should be mounted to within the index.html file in our public folders. So as we can see here, if we browse to our public folder and click on the index.html file, our index file mounts our application to the root element. Logo.svg file is pretty much just a React logo. Next we have the report web vitals.js file, which allows us to measure and analyze the performance of our application using different metrics. And lastly, we have setup tests.js, and as the name suggests, this file is used for setting up tests and running them. This file is directly invoked when we run tests on our application. Okay, so now let's go ahead and change directory and go into our my app directory. So we do cd my app, and then we go ahead from there and run our application by typing npm run start. This should open a browser window for us on port 3000. So as we can see, our application is now running in our browser on the localhost port 3000. At this point, we can do some cleanup, as many of the files will not be required in our application. So in our My App folder, we can go ahead and open that folder, and we can open up our public folders and go ahead and remove our logos. We can remove both logos, seeing that they will not be used in our application. Alright, so let's go ahead to the src folder, and let's go ahead and select the app.test, since we will not be writing tests for our application, and we can go ahead and delete the logo. We can also remove the report web vitals and the setup test.js, as again we will not be doing any tests. Let's go ahead and open up the index.js file and remove the reference to our report vitals, report web vitals, and we can go ahead and remove it from the bottom here, from line 13 to line 17. We can remove it. Go ahead and save our file. Okay, next. Next, we'll open our app.js, and then we'll remove the reference to our logo. See that the logo has been removed. And we can take out most of the boilerplate code and replace it with hello world within the h1 tags, and click save. And there you go, your first React application. In the next video, we'll look at setting up Tailwind CSS, a CSS framework which we'll be using throughout this series. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy this video, and we'll see you in the next video.